Hello, Algebra 1. It's been a while. It's been a week since we've been together. Today is Wednesday, April 14th. So if we want to title that so we are organized here in our notes, right? Because that will make our life much, much easier. Okay, I'm finally ready. Does that work? Yep, we can read that. Wednesday, April 14th. I'm gonna focus this just a tish, you guys. Sorry about that. We're gonna solve quadratics by factoring. So good news, we're adding like one step to something we already know how to do. So it's not like today's gonna be hard, which is awesome. We love that, right? So we're just gonna review a quick second here because in the end, this should all kind of make sense because it all fits together. And I might lose you when I explain this next part here, but I hope I kind of find you towards the middle of notes, okay? So if you get lost, it's okay. But there's a big connection here, okay? So 2 weeks ago, I guess on Monday we did this too. Remember we graphed parabolas, right? And a parabola is just a quadratic equation, right? And we said that the solutions to a quadratic equation are the x-intercepts, where it touches the x-axis. So maybe just put a little star here. The solutions to a quadratic equation, this should be a review, but we're just going over it, are the x-intercepts. Right? So wherever my parabola touches the x-axis, those are my answers to my equation. Okay, so now we're thinking if I just wanted to label that point right there, let's pretend it was over 2. What's my y value right there? Did I go up or down any to get here? No, that ordered pair would just be 2, 0. And then over here, let's pretend I just went over 1. This ordered pair would just be -1, 0. So what's always our y value on the x-axis? It's 0, right? So y equals 0 at our x-intercepts. And that's going to be important in a second here. Okay, so up until today, when we factored, I'm just going to shimmy this up a little bit. If I were just to tell you to factor, we saw an equation like this, right? I tell you to factor this, and then you would know I gotta think what multiplies to 6. So I have 6 and 1 and 2 and 3, but would add to 5. We would know that'd be 2 and 3, right? But now I want to solve this quadratic equation, so I want to figure out when this equation touches the x-axis. So now I'm going to say, because it's just a graph, so that's why it's y equals, and what do I want my y to be here? So these touch the x-axis. I want them to equal 0. So now our only new step today, you guys, is right here. We're going to set our factors equal to 0. Okay, so what does that mean? It's very simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to take each of our factors. So I'm going to take the first one, x plus 2, and set it equal to 0. Subtract over by 2. So then I find that x equals -2. That's one of them. And then you have to do the exact same thing with the other guy. So x plus 3 equals 0. Subtract over my 3. X equals -3. So this quadratic equation here, you guys, would have solutions at -2 and -3. So we know that technically means if I were to graph this parabola, I would have a solution at, let's see, -2, -3, and it looks something like this. That's all that means. That this equation touches the x-axis at -2 and -3. If I lost you here, send me an email, but I just want you to know that's why we set this equal to 0, because that's where our solutions are on a parabola, is the x-axis. The math shouldn't be so hard because we've done this for like 2 months, factoring. The connection here is that a parabola solution, so the solution to quadratic equations, are the x-intercepts which touch the x-axis. That's why we set it equal to 0. Okay? So now we're going to try a few more examples together. And we're going to start off with some easy ones, and we're just going to get a little bit harder, okay? So the instructions for all 6 of these problems are going to be solve each equation by factoring. Okay? We're going to solve each equation by factoring. Now the first one, this is like a level 1. Maybe we'll put that level 1. It's already in factored form for us. Look at this. This one's pretty easy. It's already factored for us. So all we have to do here is set this guy equal to 0, d minus 8 equals 0. How do I get d by itself? We're going to add the 8 over. So d equals 8. And then do the same thing here. D minus 2 equals 0. Add the 2 over. D equals 2. So now the solutions to this are 8 and 2. Again, that means this parabola would touch the x-axis at +8 and +2. Okay, let's try another one of a level 1 problem. So we're going to have x plus 7, x minus 2 equal to 0. We're going to set both of our factors equal to 0, so I'm going to have x plus 7 equal to 0. How do I get x by itself here? Subtract over your 7. So one of our answers are -7. Do the same thing here with x minus 2. Add over 2. So x equals 2. So the solutions to this quadratic equation are -7 and 2. So we touch the x-axis at -7 and 2. Okay, so that's a level 1 when it's already set up equal to 0 with your factors. Okay. Now let's try a level 2 problem. This time, I already have it equal to 0, but do you guys see how it's not in factored form? We have to factor this now, which is okay. We know how to factor. So again, we're going to put in our parentheses. So we're thinking what times a what's going to give me a y squared, a y, and a y. Look at our signs here. I have a plus and a plus, so we're going to have a plus and a plus. And what's the only way to get to a 2? A 2 and a 1. And if you don't trust yourself, remember you can always check. You get a 2y here, plus 1 more y, which gives us our 3, so we're good to go. Now we're going to set each of our factors equal to 0. I want to get y by itself, subtract 2. So y equals -2. Oops. Go like this a little bit. There we go. Do the same thing here. Y plus 1 equals 0. Subtract over my 1. Y equals -1. So our answer is -2, negative 1. Okay, let's do another one. We're going to have a squared minus a minus 20 equals 0. Again, is this in factored form? Nope, but we can get it there, so it looks like this. So put in your two sets of parentheses. What times what's going to give me an a squared, an a, and an a. Look at this, guys. I want to multiply to a negative number. What's the only way to multiply to a negative number? Positive and a negative. So now let's think of some ways to multiply to 20. I have 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. Which ones have a difference of 1? 4 and 5 do, right? And I want it to be a negative one, so I'm going to have a positive 4 and a negative 5. Now from here, set our factors equal to 0. Get a by itself. And if a equals negative 4, a minus 5 equal to 0. Add over our 5. A equals positive 5. So our answers to this quadratic equation are negative 4 and 5. Beautiful. Okay, 2 more problems, and we're going to call these level 3 kind of problems, okay? So we're going to add one more little step to our, here we go, this will work, okay. So we'll call these guys level 3. So this time you're going to get an equation like this, x squared minus 5x equals 14. Okay, so think about it. What does our what does our equation have to equal over here? On all of our other ones, if we look, bring this back, it equaled 0, equals 0, equals 0, equals 0. So I want my equation to equal 0. But right now mine equals 14. How am I going to make that a 0? Well, if I subtract 14 to both sides, I'm going to have x squared minus 5x minus 14. But now what's 14 minus 14? There's my 0. Perfect. And now from here, it's just like a level 2 problem. So now I want to put this in factored form. So I'm thinking what times what's going to get me an x squared, an x, and an x. I need to multiply to a negative number, so I'm going to have a positive and a negative. And then I want to multiply to a 14. Some ways to get to 14 are 1 and 14, 2 and 7. Now out of my 2 options here, which ones multiply, excuse me, my fault, which ones have a difference of 5? 2 and 7, right? So I want to be a negative 5, so I know my negative is going to be the 7 and my positive 2. Now I'll put both of our factors equal to 0. Get x by itself. And we'll see what we get here. X minus 7 equals 0. Add my 7 over. X equals 7. So our answer to this quadratic equation will be negative 2, 7. Then our last problem for our notes today, folks. B squared plus 7b equals 8. Again, we want our equation to equal 0 so I can factor it. So how do I get this 8 to be a 0? Subtract 8 from both sides. I have b squared plus 7b minus 8 equals 0. Now we need to factor this. I want to multiply to a negative number, so I'm going to have a b plus and a b minus. What are some ways to multiply to 8? I have 1 and 8 and 2 and 4. Which ones have a difference of 7? 1 and 8 do, but I want it to be a positive 7, so I want my 8 to be positive, my 1 to be negative, because 8 minus 1 is 7. Now set both of your factors equal to 0. Then we want to get b by itself. So b equals negative 8. Do the same thing with our b minus 1. Add the 1 over. B equals 1. So our answer, oops, sorry guys. Our answer is negative 8, 1. Okay, so again, all you had to do was factor your equation, set your factors equal to 0, and then get your variable by itself. So really, we just added this step right here. That's the only thing new today, because that's where it would cross the x-axis, because our y is equal to 0, okay? You have a Google form. I think there's like maybe 8 questions on the calendar. Just click the link where it says homework. If you have any questions at all, you guys, please, please, please send me an email. We can Zoom. If you just want to visit, we can Zoom. I miss you all so, so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. See you later.